Hi, good evening, everyone. Today is March 10th, Wednesday. Welcome to the Pot of Parables. And first, I would like to pay my respects to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Please hit like, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. Usually I would do my videos on Saturday, but I was kind of nervous about doing the video the other day, and I did my video. I did like a couple of test runs on the video, and I just decided to delete it. So today is my makeup video. So this will be my last makeup video, hopefully, and uh, every day after this will be scheduled on a Saturday. Now, uh, before we begin, um, I would like to read you a quote from the book, or from the Pot of Parables. It says here, mindfulness is the way to the deathless, nibbana. Unmindfulness, the way to the death. Uh, there, yeah, those who those who are mindful do not die, and those who are not are as if already dead. Now, what does that mean? Well, that just means that. Sorry, I'm just gotta fix the camera here. Uh, yeah, so that just means that if you're living life and you're just, you know, going around not paying attention to anything, not being aware of anything, not being mindful of anything, then that just means that you you are already dead inside, you know. You're not aware of anything that's going on around you. And if you're not aware of anything that's going on around you, then you can't really have an impact, or you can't really interact with the world around you. And if you can't interact with the world around you, then like what's the point of actually being alive? Uh, and the thing about mindfulness is that you have to be aware of everything that's going on around you, you know. So uh, there's a story of the queen and her followers, Queen Samavati and her followers. Sorry, I just gotta fix this real quick. Queen Samavati and her followers, and she wanted to see the Buddha, uh, but her husband, the king. Uh, I'm sorry. Let me start over. So she wanted to pay respects to the Buddha, but uh, she thought that her husband wouldn't allow for that, considering that he's a monk and everything. So, what her and her followers did was that they poked holes uh, on the walls, and when the Buddha would pass by, they would actually pay respects to the Buddha. But then, uh, one day, the king's harem saw that and reported it to the king. Now, the king's harem, what you don't really know about the king's harem was that she was offered a hand in marriage to the Buddha, and the Buddha uh, flatly refused to marry her. So she was embarrassed, every day after that, and she sought revenge against the Buddha. Now, she knew she couldn't really touch the Buddha, so what she did was she tried in every way in her waking power to get the queen and her followers killed because they were devotees of Buddha. So uh, she would tell the king that his wife was actually seeing the Buddha behind his back, and she would actually go to the queen's room, and she would show the holes on the wall that the queen and her followers made. Um, but the king didn't. But the king didn't really seem to mind. The king actually thought that was totally ridiculous, which it was. And uh, after that didn't work, then what she did was she uh, told the king that the queen was actually plotting against the king. So she put uh, a snake in the king's musical instrument, and when the king actually went to pick it up, the snake actually came out and hissed at the king, ready to strike. So the king, uh, upon like seeing the snake, thought that the queen and her followers were actually going to kill her. So what he did was he rounded up the queen and a bunch of her servants along a line, and he loaded the arrows with poison and shot at the queen and her followers, close target. But the arrow, for some reason, developed a mind of its own and just kept missing. And the king now realizes that the queen was actually pure and innocent the whole time. So uh, the harem, determining, or the harem being very determined. I'm sorry, not determining. The harem being determined uh, to actually get revenge on the Buddha. She came upon the queen and her followers meditating in a room. So what she did was she actually had her uncle set the fire to the meditation center or the meditation place, and the queen saw what was happening. The queen and her followers saw what was happening, but they actually continued to meditate, and upon meditating, they reached nirvana before they died, or they reached peace before they died, because they kept on meditating. And the king uh, finally suspects the queen, or not suspects the queen, suspected the harem was behind this. So what the king did was he feigned interest, or he feigned excitement about the prospect of the queen and her followers getting killed, saying that, "Hey, I'm actually not my, hey, like I'm actually really proud. Like please, anybody, whoever did this, like, thank you so much, because the queen and her followers were actually gonna kill me. Like, whoever did this, like, thank you, and I want to know who did it." So the heroine, being egotistical as she was, she said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I did it. Hey, I did it. I did it. I did. I saved your life." And the king's like, "Oh, thank you so much. Can you gather all your families and have them come to the courtyard so that I can thank them?" And the uh, the harem, not realizing the trap, she gathers her family and her yeah, she gathers her and her family to the courtyard, and the king says, "Hey, welcome. Thank you for coming. Now you're all gonna die." So the king executed her and all of her family. And the Buddha, when he finally arrived, he said, "Hey, what went on?" And the king told the Buddha what went on, and the Buddha said that, well, in a way, she actually did deserve it, because she really wasn't mindful of her actions, and she was dead. She was pretty much dead the whole time. Um, so she was always trying to get revenge, and she was always being single minded on the fact of getting revenge at the Buddha, because of the embarrassment that she was experiencing, or the embarrassment that she experienced at the time of the rejection. So, like, she was blinded by that vengeance. She was blinded by that narrow-minded negative focus, that everything around her didn't really seem to matter. Like, first she would put the snake in the king's instrument, and she would try to do anything in her power to sabotage it, just so that way she could fulfill a need or to fulfill a desire. But the thing was, she wasn't actually really mindful of her actions, and she wasn't mindful of the other people's actions too, because the king's follower, not the king's follower, the king's wife, the queen, and her followers had nothing to do with it. They were devotees of Buddha. They were listening to the Dharma. Like when they died, they actually reached nirvana because they were being mindful, and they realized that that was the end of their time. But the harem didn't realize that when the king was inviting her to the courtyard, she actually didn't realize that was the end of her time. But uh, when she didn't realize that, yeah, I'm sorry, she actually didn't realize that that was the end of her time, and uh, she was always a dead man walking or a dead woman walking. You know, her actions led her to her own death. And the thing about mindfulness is that you actually have to put forth action when it comes to being aware. Like you can't just be aware, you can't just have knowledge without the action, because the whole point of actually being aware is so that you can actually interact with your environment and you can change your environment bit by bit by bit, because everything that you do has uh, has a cause and effect. And if you're not aware of the cause and effect of the world, then your action will actually lead to negative consequences, kind of like the harem, and it will spiral out of control. You know, um, that's why like the whole famous quote about uh, not being mindful means you're already dead, and being mindful means that you're alive. Because it's all about the interaction that you have with your environment. Like if you're aware uh, of something, it's your duty to change it. And if you're aware of you changing it, then there's a bigger prospect or there's a bigger aspect of you changing the world from within. You know, um, so always keep that in mind. But the thing is, it's not just it. I'm sorry. It's not just the whole idea about being aware and being mindful too. Like sometimes you could actually be aware of the wrong things and being mindful of the wrong things. You know, uh, you'd actually have to have the right mindfulness and the right awareness, which is part of the eightfold path. Like the right understanding, right mindfulness. You know, um, because you can be aware of doing negative things. Like you could actually be aware of killing somebody. You're aware you're killing somebody, but uh, that's a negative consequences, or that leads to negative consequences on your karma. And in order for you to have the right positive effect on the world, is if you have the right understanding of the world with the right mindfulness and with the right actions. Like for example, say I have a knife, or say I have a gun, and I want to kill somebody, and I'm aware I'm going to kill somebody. Yeah, I'm being mindful of my actions, but I'm not being mindful of my consequences. You know, mindfulness is having the right action, having the right mindfulness, and knowing the consequences of your actions. Because, like I said, everything that you do no matter how small, has an impact in the universe because you are a part of that universe. You know, uh, no matter how small you think you are, like you can always change the fate and circumstances of everything around you, but everything has to be right in order for you to do that. You know, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm like repeating myself today. Uh, I don't really get a lot of sleep, so anyways, um, on top of that note, thank you all for watching today. I'm sorry this isn't really like the best video that I posted out there. Even after like all these days of not doing my video. Um, anyways, please hit like, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. And on the message box, like just tell me like what I need to change and tell me how to make this video better, so that way it could be entertaining for you, the viewer, and uh, whenever somebody else watches it, they could be entertained too, and they can know more about the Dhamma and they can know more about how to live life. So please, 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 please don't forget to comment. And if you see this video, don't forget to share, on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Um, anyways, thank you so much, guys, and take care. Bye.